Okay, good afternoon. Hello, everybody. One more Thursday. Here we are, punctual, with one more webcast. As I would always say, one of the most interesting because, every week I find that we bring here very interesting guests and we chose very interesting topics. And I think that today is not an exception. Actually, I would say that today we are talking about one of the most relevant topics for an important number of our users or the members of our community. Because in the end, my experience tells me that when people try to learn languages, normally they have three main reasons to try to improve, which is first for personal reasons, because they have the satisfaction of being able to communicate with more people when they travel. Second, because of an academic reason, because they want to, having a certificate for any kind of requirement. And the third one, and perhaps the most important one, is for professional reasons, because of definitely, needless to say, how important is English for the development of your career more than ever now. And yeah, when we touch this point, we try to improve our English, but then it's the next step. Once your English is better or strong enough, then you need the opportunity to show that you are a professional that can speak English and face the different challenges that a professional has to deal with. And if you don't have the job, there is a process, which is first of all to apply for that job, and then you need to grab the attention of the recruiters. And there are different steps, as you know. First of all is the curriculum, then is the interview. At least these two are the most usual ones. And when English is a requirement or an important skill that the human resources departments consider, that's the question, is how nowadays you should reflect your English level. And how do the recruiters at this moment evaluate or analyze or value your English level? So to talk about that, we have today here Jorge Agostinho. First of all, I would like to say thank you once more for being here. So good afternoon, Jorge. How are you? I think your microphone is mute.
Now it's okay.
Yeah. Hello, Jorge. How are you?
I'm good. Good afternoon, everybody. I'm good. Yes, I'm good. I'm here working at home, and so yeah, I'm just connected to talk a bit with you from Santiago.
Okay, yeah, from Santiago, because you normally work from home.
No, usually not. But I recently discovered that I've been positive for COVID, and so I'm now. But I'm perfectly well. But now I'm waiting at home to go back to the office and work normally, because usually I work from the office every day. But yes, today I'm still here, so hopefully the last day at home. But I'm still here. That's why I'm connected from home.
Okay, but you are feeling well,
Yeah.
right?
Yes, I'm feeling perfectly well. Yes, thank you, David.
Okay, I see that you are feeling better than me. I'm not feeling very well because yesterday I had my second dose of Moderna, I have to say.
Okay.
Nothing to do with the first. Nothing to do with the first. Yeah, it was
Actually,
a
for
tough
me, the
night.
first I've been vaccinated with the Moderna as well, and the first was I felt it 24 hours after I felt it. Some
With the
effects
first. Okay, in
with
my
the
case with the
first.
second. Well, okay, but here we are. Well,
Yes.
so yeah, this interview, this webcast was supposed to be at 4 and it's at 2 because, well, this is the price that you have to pay when you bring professionals here, that they are busy. And unexpectedly, Jorge had a last minute meeting and he did the best he could to find some time to be with us. So thank you, because I know that it was something out of your control and you're making an effort to be here. And yet you work from Santiago because the company that you work for, Finsa, I think is a company that everybody knows very well. It's a referent in the sector. Has the headquarters in Santiago, right?
Yes. No, right now the central headquarters, if I can say like that, is here in Santiago. We are here in Santiago, although we have another factories and other points of contact, commercial points of contact, delegations in another countries and in another cities of Spain and also Portugal. But yeah, I found this opportunity through a research some months ago back in Portugal when I was searching for a new job. And so, interview after view, process after process, I ended up here in Santiago, and I'm really happy.
Well, you know very well the two sides of the coin because you have been a candidate when you joined the company, where
Yes.
English was an important factor, and now you are
hmm
living it from the other point of view because you interview candidates
Yes.
weekly.
hmm
Um, I guess that everybody knows about Finza, but if you, I mean, for those who are not familiar with the company, what can you
hmm
tell them about Finza? You know, the service, the business, the industry, and yeah,
Yes.
and
Yes.
some figures about where the company is present, the market, etc.
Yes. Well, I can tell you. Well, since it's a Galician company, Galician, I think it's correct to say like this.
Yes.
And yes, the main central work of the company is to work with wood in different kind of sectors. It can be the construction sector or the furniture, decoration as well, and everything that has to do with the transformations of the wood, talking about the different types and kinds of wood, and the transformation and the process to the final product that are delivered to clients, both national and international as well. And
Mm-hmm.
so right now there's a lot of, as I said, a lot of factories, a lot of subgroups inside of the big group of Finza, and that is why I think right now the one of the most interesting points in the recruitment and well, the company right now is to try to include all of the people from different locations to talking in a bit more in English, because of course since it's a Spanish company, I think there's an effort, and I think it's correct, and there's an effort to everybody try to at least understand Spanish. Even with people in Portugal, for example, we speak both Portuguese and Spanish, and we get along really well. But yes, I think right now, in terms of English, it's very important that people gain a bit of conscience that it's relevant. No, it's important to try at least to understand and to defend yourself in some topics.
Definitely, definitely. Yeah, it's an example of a Galician company that became international. Things are going well. So with the passing of time, it has, become more and more important to count on a
Yeah.
staff that feels strong with English, especially for some positions, as usual.
hmm
Well, we are very happy. We are very proud of being with Finza. We are helping them with their language needs and different languages, like you said. Yeah, actually,
hmm
you are an example yourself. You are learning Spanish. Well, learning. You
Yeah.
already know how to speak Spanish, and you are just trying to reach a more advanced level.
Yeah.
And not in English, because in this case, well, we can see that Jorge is very fluent in English, but well, this is the situation where many companies are. Is on the one hand, with the existing staff, they try to provide training so the employees feel stronger, and many companies like Fins are doing that, and we are happy to help them. But at the same time, of course, it's important to hire people that from the beginning they already
hmm
feel strong and capable to deal with English. So that's the point that we are touching today. But before that, Jorge, if it's okay with you, let's go back to the beginning of your career and to your profile, so also people can understand better the kind of profile that now are working for the Human Resources Department. In
hmm
your case, would you say that your profile, with your background in psychology and psychology for organizations, is a average or a standard or representative profile of the Human Resources Departments nowadays?
Well, in my opinion, David, it should be, yeah, because we usually there, at least the reality that I know is from my country, you know, from Portugal, because I see that in terms of human resources, we have a master's, no, and that type of master is available for different types of, let's say, courses. Can be sociology, can be psychology, but as well at another, like for example, a career in management, and people can also do a master's or another graduation in human resources. So there are different types of let's say big groups in terms of what you want to do, or say, and I think for a person that is trying to evaluate another to see if there's a fit for a job, if there's a fit for the competencies that are needed, and the skills that you have to evaluate. Yes, I think in terms of the psychology, it's a really relevant field, because you can, I think you are more prepared, you know, to understand the people and to identify potential competencies through the conversations or through interviews, applications of tests as well. But I'm more. I'm a strong believer more in the interviews than in the psychological tests or something like that. But so I think, yes, I think it's a great value, I believe. But also I have colleagues that they are more in the management field, no, so, and they have a view more analytical, if I can say like that. No, not so just human, but more analytical, more in terms of numbers and everything, and that is okay as well. That is important as well. But in terms of selection, I think that can be more accurate to if you have that. That experience, and also that taste, no, for talking with people, to try to understand their needs, what they are looking for in the new jobs, what they want to do with their lives, explore their potential.
So in this case, you really feel that your background becoming more specialized in psychology, and the
Yeah.
application of psychology in organizations really help you, and it's something that you know really makes your job
Yes.
easier and more valuable.
Yes, and I also I personally see that now here in Finza, because I don't have a really a long experience in the area, but I have like 2-3 years of working already, and I, especially in the beginning, I had contact with some superiors, some colleagues. They were doing the same job as I did, or my colleagues did, and I think if you work with people that understands what you are doing, no, and you do, if they understand what you are looking for in the person, to try to fit the best, you know, between the person and the job or the offer, I think that's cool, and it's better, and we can predict better results to the organization than just some interviewing based on curricular stuff and curricular experience, for example.
Yeah, definitely. This topic, recruitment, is so wide and so interesting that we could be, focusing on many different aspects on
Yeah,
it. Today, we
yeah,
are focusing on the English evaluation, let's say,
yeah,
but definitely it's very wide and fascinating. And at the same time, I think that I'm sure that there are even, let's say, different opinions amongst your colleagues. And perhaps if we had here today a colleague from a different department or from a different company, they follow different protocols or criteria.
yes,
But the reason why we thought that Jorge was, the perfect guest is not only because, he's a member of our community, and you can see that he's a very good example of how a non-native person can communicate really well in English, but also because he's young. He's young, and I think he represents the modern times and the future of this aspect, of this point of recruiting, analyzing the English level of the candidates. I think that Jorge's vision really match better with what we can expect in the following years. So I think his point of view is really interesting, and not only his point of view, what he's living in his everyday. Um, uh, let's start then, Jorge, if it's okay with you, with specific questions, and I would start, if it's okay with you, with the first question that our users or the members of our community
Mhm.
express when they have this concern of grabbing the attention of the recruiters. And basically, you find very usually this sentence of, if I don't have the certificate, I have no options to be called for an interview, because the description of the job descriptions are so clear about the requirement of having the certificate of B2 or C1 level that
Mhm.
there is no way I can have an option to be called for an interview if I don't have the certificate. Well, is this true? It's a myth. It's part of the past. How true is this nowadays?
Yeah, I think to answer your question, David, I will talk, of course, about what I know and my little experience, because I believe, as you said before, that each company or each, I don't know, each person or each professional, no, may have another opinion or may have another experience. In my experience, both from the recruiter or both from the person that is going to be interviewed for a position, I can tell you that it's not just important to have a certificate. I don't have a certificate, for example, and it never, and in my curriculum, I've always put it that I was fluent in both in English and a bit of French as well. Well, so and but I didn't have I was never I didn't even need a C1 certificate or a B2 certificate, and to be honest, there was never one. I was never concerned about that, you know. Yes, what I see right now is, especially for young people that are starting now to search for a job or to start their careers. Yes, I see that many of them as C1, C2 certificates, B2, and sometimes even from schools that I don't even know, and I don't have to know them. But what is interesting, what is curious, is that yes, okay, if you have this certificate, why, if in interview, if I asked you a question, or if I asked you, look, present yourself to me in English with your strong qualities and some points that you think that you should grow up a bit more in terms of your professional field. And sometimes what we see is that the level of English, of talking English in the person in the interview, it's very different than the English that it's proved by a C2 certificate or a B2 certificate.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think this is something that we have to think about, because maybe you can have the certificate, but if you don't train your language skills, or if you don't talk, if you don't I don't know, see a movie in that language, or it's complicated, because of course you may have the certificate, but for work you also need to defend yourself in some ways, no?
Mm-hmm.
And there, so to answer your questions, I would say that in my point of view, no, because in my curriculum, or another curriculum, if I see one that tells me, for example, David has a C2, okay, and I don't know, Maria or Anna has, I see one part where in the curriculum says fluent in English, or good communication skills in English. Okay, for me, it's the same, because I will talk with that people, or in person or through a video call in an interview, and then I can evaluate the English. I can try to make a conversation and try to see the level of the person in terms of the professional topics that we are talking about.
Mm-hmm. I will try to reply from the point of view of the candidates, what people tell me, which is, yeah, I mean, I know that in the end, the important thing is the communicative skills that you have. But if they are more flexible, I mean, the human resources people are more flexible about that, why do they include so frequently in the job description that the certificate is a requirement? So my question is, do you do it, or you think that is so extended this practice as a filter, as a first filter, or is your way to express how important it is, and you are flexible and open to consider candidates without English, even if the certificate is not reflected in the curriculum?
Mhm.
I mean, how strict do you think that
Yeah.
that condition is?
Yeah. Once again, David, I think it depends once again on the company and the offer, because I've seen so many offers saying in the special requirement fields, no, saying preference for a C2 or preference for a C1 in English. That doesn't mean necessarily that you had to have the certificate. You know, I think it's more of a guideline to for the recruiters or for the professional to see, or even the candidates to see that if I'm applying for this job, I may have to talk in English or I may have to understand what people want to say to me.
I
You see,
understand.
and
Mhm.
because for me as well, I applied for many for many job descriptions that asked me for a C2, and I don't have a certificate, and
Mhm.
you know, so I think it's more like, of course, that may have one job or one company that sure they can require a certificate, no, and look, you can send me your curriculum, but if you can send me a print screen as well of your certificate or a document that can prove that you are in fact a C2 in English. But usually, from my experience, it's more like a guideline. So C2 in English, experience in English, or fluency, let's say.
I will ask it in a different way. Let's say that I find an offer, and in the job description, I read the requirements, and one of them is C1 certificate.
Yeah.
And I don't have it, I don't have the certificate, but I feel that I am the perfect profile because I meet
Yeah.
all the other requirements. And I think that I really have this C1 in terms of communication. So
Hmm.
as a candidate, I have this dilemma. It's like, should I apply for it or not? Because on the one
Hmm.
hand, I think that people have the experience that human resources are quite clear about, if you don't meet the requirements, please don't send the curriculum because we have too many. So please be strict with the requirement. But at the same time, from the point of view of the candidate is, I want to have my opportunities. Like, should I try, and should I um, perhaps admit in my application, well, as you can see, I don't have the certificate, but I
Hmm.
think I am a. So, what do you recommend to do in these cases when it's a
Yeah.
requirement, but you don't have the certificate? You should try anyway.
I would say you should try it away because first of all, why not? Because no, it's already guaranteed. So if you have the curricular, if and you know that you have the profile, you have the experience and the willing to talk, why not? Because and yes, it's true that there are some recruitment processes where the amount of curriculums and candidates are a lot, but we are, at least here, we are not talking about a recruitment, for example, in a temporary jobs, for example, where you receive like a lot of curricular, a lot of candidates, and of course you have to have your guidelines. You have to select them in the first phase, and that is the curriculum selection. No,
Mhm.
but I would say that if I'm looking for a person in a specific department, like for example marketing, where we know that, for example, through social media or through I don't know the program system that you have to use to your job, no, it's in English. Well, if you tell me I don't have a certificate, but if you can show me in another way that you are a potential candidate, yes, why not? So
So let's go this way, because of course, if I have the certificate, no problem. It's like, okay, here you are, my certificate, and now of course I have to
yeah,
be ready for the following steps, the interview,
yeah,
etc. But if I don't have it, but I still want to try, and I want to show you that in
hmm,
spite of not having the certificate, I am the right profile in terms of English skills,
hmm,
how can a candidate reflect that on the curriculum, or what kind of actions do you recommend to grab the attention of the recruiters? Because, for example, you said that reflecting fluent English should be enough to
yeah,
really send the message that you are prepared for the interview. Is there
yeah.
anything else that you recommend for these
Yeah, for
situations?
example, if you are sending the CV through email, for example, you can start by writing the email in English. For example, it's a good omen, no, that you can speak in English as well. And if I because this is my situation as well. So if I in the future I see that opportunity, I think I will start to write, because If it's in a website, for example, you always have this type of little frames where you can reply to some question or add some additional stuff, no, to your profile. And I would say that despite I don't have the certificate that study, that I'm a good candidate, and I'm really ready to show the skills in an interview or in the first point of contact, even though if it's a telephone interview, because by then the recruitment should see that, okay, this candidate can speak and can defend himself in English. So yeah, that can be a strategy.
Yeah, of course. I mean, writing an email in English, in theory, it's something that anybody can do with Google Translate, and it's not a proof itself, but it's like a declaration of intention, right? It's like the fact that I make the effort to write this, to send you this email in English, it's a first way for me to show you that I understand the context and
even the
I
curriculum.
accept.
Yeah. And even the curriculum, David, as well.
And the curriculum,
And the curriculum as well.
So an email or a letter or a resume in English is not a proof itself that you can speak. You need other tools for that. But like I said, it's like a declaration of intention, or like I am prepared for that, and I'm happy to start from the beginning of this process using English as my language.
Yes, I agree with that. Yeah.
Let's talk about more original ways to really grab the attention of the recruiters, because in the end, you are trying to sell yourself in a sea, in an ocean of candidates. And finally, candidates, especially the new generations, try to be more and more creative, which is normal because the competition is, is very hard. Are you open to other ways so you can see the real level of people? For example, if you receive a video curriculum where the candidate is speaking English about, her or his professional career and background, do you play that track? Do you see that video?
Yes, of course. Well, right now in my current experience, we don't have that type of approach, and that is the thing that that in my opinion, in the creative ways of catching attention, I like them because I consider myself a bit creative as well, and so I think it's really interesting. And if someone came to me with that type of material, let's say, of course I would play it and I would consider, because come on, the people more than prepared the curriculum. This person recorded a video, so it took that time of his day, or her day, to send us a video and to present themselves, and that I think there's value in that. The problem is that nowadays companies recruit through LinkedIn and through the main portal, let's say, the website, and I think those type of platforms, David, are not prepared to receive that type of materials, at least the one that I'm working on right now. I'm sure that I've seen it some really other, let's say, modern companies, that in the portals they also have the possibility to the candidate put different type of media, let's say, and not just PDF or just Word with the curriculum, but also I don't know, JPEG or video, no?
Well, with this technology today, it's true that perhaps you cannot upload a video to the portal, but you can upload it to your cloud, and then you can share the link.
For example,
and a link should be enough. Then the link leads you to the cloud where they can play the video. So the important thing is that it seems to me that you say that not only you are open to pay attention to this video, but the question is, would this candidate really have an advantage compared to others? If the candidate who sends you the video and you see him or her speaking English would have an advantage?
I think there is an advantage, as well as an advantage of, for example, have a good curriculum, a good presentable curriculum, no? Because, and that is true, and it happened to me, is that you meet someone through an interview that doesn't fit the curriculum that you sent before, because the curriculum was terrible. Even me, I wanted to tell this person, like, look, pay attention, because you cannot present yourself this way, because there's a lot of information I cannot read. And of course, by chance, there was this point that we considered, but okay, this can be interesting. Let's see. So if there is an advantage, yes. But if you have to confirm that, yes, yes as well. You have to be, because we have the other part of the other side of the coin, that everything is so interesting and everything is so appealing, but then when you the juice of the of the curriculum or the presentation cannot be the same. And so yeah, to catch attention, yes, but to validate and to be more accurate in the conversation and the skills as well, that yes. So yeah,
Of course, because in the end, it's one of the usual fears of people in terms of the accuracy is
yeah,
what level should I reflect? Because there is like this standard myth that, for example, the black legend that people tend to exaggerate the English level that they have, which I think honestly is only a legend. I don't see people nowadays doing that. I think it's actually too risky, it's actually stupid, because like you said before, of course, it's important to design a good presentation, a good curriculum, and actually a workshop only on that would be very useful, how to design a good curriculum from the point of view of human resources. But in the end, it makes no sense to exaggerate or to tell things that are not true.
no.
Actually, in terms of English, you said, okay, yeah, feel free to reflect that you are fluent, that you can do this, that you can do that. But of course, always something that you can prove at the moment of the interview or the video curriculum, right? So
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
definitely you don't recommend to be too ambitious when reflecting your
No,
level.
no, it's better to I think it's good to have the feet on the earth, because I personally I had well, I had some examples of people that well, they were not it was not a tremendous level of English. It was a B2, B1, B2, but still, yeah, a B2 you should defend yourself normally, even with simple words, but you should defend yourself. And the candidate could not, and so
In the
it was
interview.
in the interview, yeah. And
Mhm.
so and after that, and of course the candidate got nervous and everything, but by the end, of course, you have to be polite and understand the situation. But after that, I thought, well, so why you put in your curriculum B2? No, you will be more honest if you say a good I don't know, good skills in English, or some skills in English, good communication, something more realistic, let's say, and not just because he didn't have the certificate neither.
Yeah, if you don't have the certificate and it's only your opinion about your level, yeah, perhaps
Yeah.
you were wrong intentionally or not, I don't know. But sometimes I'm sure that you have found candidates in the interview
Hmm.
that didn't show that they had a B2, for example, but they had the certificate. Perhaps you also have examples like this: is he has or she has a certificate, but I don't see this B2 here in this conversation. I don't see this person
Hmm.
strongly communicating with me. So let's talk about that, because it's one of the most important points. And you said in the beginning about the training, because in the
Hmm.
end is I think it's important to understand the frustration of people. You dedicate so many hours, you devote so much time to study English and to pass an exam. And one day you go to an interview and you have this frustration that is not enough because the pressure and the situation is too much, and you don't show that level. Your level is not there because you have not had a training that you
Hmm.
needed for those situations. So
Yeah.
again, it's the question is, if people have a limited amount of time to work on their English, from the point of view of the recruiters, would you recommend them to spend more time passing that exam, obtaining that certificate, or training the communicative skills, oral interaction that they
Mhm.
need for their future positions?
Yeah, you already know my opinion. It's
I
the
have to
second
ask.
one. Yeah, yeah. It's the second also. Yeah, I think it's yeah, because nowadays, I mean, English is everywhere. If as you said it, and really well in the beginning, if you want to travel, or if you want to change your job, or to move, or have an experience in another country, you have a friend from another country that you want to show him the city, or yeah, so I think yes, the levels are important, and I think that there were. It's especially important in some parts of our study life. Because I remember when I finished high school, I had colleagues really concerned about getting a certificate and getting a diploma of English. And back then I didn't even know how to speak currently English. And so I think it's, in terms of language training, I think it's very important to do, for example, I don't know, to go in a trip, an exchange trip, from, for example, go to London 1 month or two and try to see the culture, and to try to talk in English with the people, because like that you are more in the situation, or you are more aware of the words and not just the grammatical words that you are training for the exam or for the certificate or whatever. No, I think the interaction is important, the conversation, because yeah, in an interview you will be nervous. In your professional experience, you may be nervous as well. So there are a lot of parts and components here. And if you are stronger in your communication, if you are stronger in the way that you talk, and you defend your language, I think it's way better, definitely.
When you're in the interview and you are interacting with the candidates, and the interview is in English, or yeah, it's the moment to make sure that the person meets the requirements in terms of mastery of the language. What do you especially take into account? I mean, do you pay more attention to the accuracy, to the correction of the language, the grammar? Do you focus more on the attitude, on the, I don't know, the soft skills, the confidence, the fluency? What is the main thing that really gives you the right impression of the English level of that person?
Yeah, I think it's the fluency, and the fluency and the way that the candidate or the person can connect with you and communicate with you the idea, or the subjects that they want to communicate to you. Because of course everybody has some grammar mistakes, even me, when everybody that whose language is not from a native language. No, it's a language that you learned in your past. No, everybody makes mistakes, but if you can translate the idea, if you can communicate, and to really make the other person see your point and what you are trying to communicate to those recruiters or to those people, yeah, I think that is, for me, it's the key to success, at least at that point. Of course, if we advance to another interview or in another point of the recruitment process, if the candidate needs to, I don't know, to for example, communicate some protocols in English that may have more specific or formal words, sorry, in that type of, okay, that might be a bit more difficult. No, but for a first point of contact, yes, fluency, and and yeah, and willing to communicate us the ideas that you want to tell us.
For those who are watching this recording on demand, don't get us wrong. We are not saying that certificates are not important or not good. I mean, I think we are only saying that certificate is not the end. Actually, is the beginning of the beginning, because they lead you to the start line. Because you can have the certificate, but yeah, the best that you can get with that many times is to meet the requirement. But then the next question comes, which is, but are you able to interact in English the way that Jorge is expressing now? Because if you are not, you need to continue with the training, fortunately or unfortunately. And the second lesson, I think, is, and if you don't have the certificate, it's not the end of the world. There are other options. There are other, pathways to find your opportunity, like Jorge was explaining before. Another question, and I think I can anticipate the answer again, but again, I want to ask you.
Yeah.
You have two candidates. One of them has a C1 certificate, even in an English test, high scoring, and the other grabbed your attention, reflecting in the curriculum. I am ready. I have experience dealing with telephone calls, making presentations, negotiating. So you also contact this candidate for the interview. And in the interview, the second candidate makes more mistakes, but is very confident. And the other is more accurate, more correction in its English, but you don't see the same level of confidence and communication that you expressed before. Which one do you prefer?
The one who can communicate, definitely.
Even if it makes more mistakes.
Yeah, because those mistakes you can try to improve them internally, for example, you know. But also it depends of the job that you are selecting for. I mean, if you are searching for a person that needs to be confident, that needs to be more open to communicate with the others, doesn't have any problem to defend their ideas, of course this would be the perfect candidate. If he has mistakes or makes mistakes, yes, okay, so let's work with them, let's try to fix them in the let's say training process, in the first stage of contraction of a contract in the company, no. And so that can be worked. Yes, I would select them.
Because it's more difficult to find that confidence. So you would choose the confident one, and then you could give training to this person to improve, the language
Yes.
accuracy. But the most important thing, he or she already has that.
Mhm.
I
And
understand.
more than confidence, David, is the willing to learn, and the willing and to be open to learn, and to see, okay, I have these mistakes, but I don't have any certificate, so let's work on that part. If someone says to me that has a C2 certificate but makes a bit mistakes in the interview and doesn't show that much open to the dialogue, and the communication, well, yes, I think that might be a bit more difficult compared to the other. Yes.
Of course, it makes a lot of sense. One more question before we open, our
Hmm.
section for questions from the audience. Any recommendations about what to do or what to say, or what not to do or what not to say when you are in an English interview? Of course, this question could be applicable to not only in English, what to do in an interview, what not to do in an interview, but in this case, when you are trying to show that you have enough English to for your role, what to say, what not to say, what to do, what not to do. Any tips?
Difficult question, this one. What to do and what not to do. Well, I don't know what to say about not to do. Let's say like this, because I mean, if I'm asking you, for example, to tell me three of your strongest points, or tell me if I meet sometimes I ask this, tell me if I meet a friend of you in the street, or in the professional contact, and asked about you. What do you think that this friend of yours would tell about your personality, about your work, to defend yourself and to promote yourself, let's say? In that case, I would say, I would recommend to use simple words, simple English words, because that makes the dialogue for you more easy, because you might be nervous, you might be a bit accelerated in your speech and in the dialogue, and so that would be easier for you, and to be honest as well. Not try to pre-save or prepare a really long speech before, because first the question may be totally different that you prepared, and then you might think that what you prepared might respond to that type of question, but then in the end, no. And so, yeah, be truth, and use simple words, and because I think sometimes in this type of dialogues, the simple the better. It doesn't I doesn't I don't need to see that you can use like super fancy English words, or really strong dialogue, so it's my tip would be that one.
And I think it's a very good one, because, sometimes the tendency is to think that the more sophisticated your English sounds, the better.
Yeah.
When in the end, the reality is like, and you are saying very specifically now, which is actually the opposite. The simpler, the better. It makes it easier for you and for me to understand you,
Mhm.
and also be natural. It's like, be natural,
Yes.
and
Yes.
of course, everybody wants to prepare properly an interview, but in the end, recruiters want to see the spontaneity and the real person,
Yeah.
behind.
Yeah. Definitely.
Good. Well,
Definitely.
I would like very much to count on questions from our audience. As usual, feel free to just to open your microphone or to share them with us on our chat. And that's, of course, always our favorite part of the interviews. Let's see if somebody is happy to ask questions to Jorge. In the meanwhile, okay, I think we have somebody.
Hello, Jorge.
Hello.
Hello. My communication is terrible. My name's Josephine,
Hello.
and thank you for enlightening us. My first question is for you. What made you decide going into human resources? You said you studied psychology and then you did a master's in human resources. How did you decide to go in that direction?
Yeah. So yeah, basically, I think I went to that direction because it was thinking about my future and the possibilities that I had. I think that could be a good fit between what I love to do, that is work with people and communicate with people and work in that type of environment, and also have more work possibilities, because I don't know, I don't really know well the situation now here in Spain, but for example in Portugal, the clinical psychology is a tough one. It's not very easy to find a job. Sometimes there are a lot well, we really needed that type of job and the type of availability from people and from the professionals, but it's not, the opportunities are not so many. And of course, it's also a thing that I want to do in my life in the near future, or somewhere in my future. I would love to specialize myself as well in that area. But human resources, yes, I think it was because of these both streams, that one, my career, that I might have more possibilities, or the spectrum could be more open to different types of functions, and I would still be able to work with people and to try to to continue what I study and what I wanted to do with people. So yeah, that is why I went to this area.
Okay. Jorge, we have a very young community in our schools, people that are now, well, actually my daughter is here and she's at the age where she's trying to make up her mind what to do with her future. We have other students, so we have a big community of teens that are now deciding. So what
Mhm.
kind of skills do you think that they should have if they decided to go in this direction? Aside from studying psychology and master in
Mhm.
human resources,
Mhm.
what other personal skills do you think they should have
Mhm.
to
Yeah, I
succeed
think
in your area?
yes. I think if we are talking more about the interpersonal skills, I would say empathy, capacity to empathy and to understand the other. That is, for me, it's
Mm-hmm.
the most important, and your communication skills as well. You should not be, and I'm not talking about communication of skill to speak in public, or I'm more like. Try to get to the point, or in the conversation with the people, to try to go to the specific points that needed to be talked about. Doesn't, I think we cannot be shy in that type of in this type of skills, if I may say like that, and also organizational skills as well are important, because yes, you speak with many people, but you may have as well many processes, and so you have to organize them. You have to not to try not to forget that this candidate belongs to that type of process. And so yeah, these three, empathy, communication skills, and organization, are very, very important.
I see. Okay, thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you on
no, thank
behalf
you.
of all the teenagers that will
Thank you,
probably
thank
watch you
you.
at some time.
Well, yes, it's important.
Okay. Anybody else would like to ask question? Well, in the meanwhile, Jorge, how was the experience? Did you enjoy your Linguage in
Yeah, I
TV
enjoyed it.
time?
Yeah, it's nice for me as well to practice a bit my English, because nowadays I don't speak that much. I'm more like a Spanish fan now.
Yeah, yeah,
But
yeah, yeah.
so and so it's really important. Yeah, no, I love it.
Another message for our community watching the recording. Um, well, I mean, I think it's a privilege, honestly, to be able to know directly from a profile like Jorge all the information that he has shared with us is extremely useful. It's extremely up-to-date information. And but the difference between watching the recording on demand and being here like Josephine now is this thrill of the question. When you're in the interview, many times you realize that it's like the first or one of the first times that you really speak English in your life. And then this kind of little actions or public actions or real life situations really
Hmm.
help you to break that barrier, I think. And it's
Definitely.
like a very stupid, yeah, one question. Well, it's one moment when people are listening to you and you take the initiative to ask that really helps. I mean, you don't build a confidence from day to night. You need these kind of little things to start feeling that you can. And one day you
Mhm.
reach the interview and you feel like, well, it's one more time that I have to speak English. So,
Yeah, no, definitely. And let me just say, David, that in the here in the school, it's very important that you organize this type of conversations, because people can talk, and can try to practice. And I think it's the only way to gain, that flexibility of the language, and to
mhm.
speak more fluently. The
Actually, since I see that we have no more questions, I would like to ask myself one more. And please be
Mhm.
totally frank as you have been.
Yeah.
We have seen very clearly the importance of having a certificate on the one hand, but also developing your skills. Do
Mhm.
you think that because you already know Lingua Gym and our method, is true that now you are learning or you are training your Spanish and
Mhm.
your colleagues are training with us all the languages, English,
Mhm.
Italian, I think, Portuguese. Well, I'm not sure now, but more languages.
Mhm.
Do you think that a method like ours, so focused on the real life practice and training the communicative skills, is a kind of tools on a method that really covers these needs of feeling stronger in English?
Yes, definitely, David, because it's as you said, it's adaptable to the situation where you need to use the language that you are learning. Even if it's from, I don't know, a personal reason or a professional reason. If it's professional, if I can learn how to write an email or how to have a conversation in a work environment, or an initiative like this, I think it's great. And even if it's just for personal reasons, because I want to learn more about this language. Yeah, I mean, if we can talk, if we can use or improvise, like current the life situations, from nowadays, well, better, because those would be the situations that we will be working on our language, no. Not just I don't know, not just a grammatical test, or something like that, because that you can train, of course, in your lessons, but if you
Mm-hmm.
don't practice them, it would be difficult.
Definitely, totally agree. That's all for now. I think we have reached some interesting conclusions, and I think it's okay to list them. Actually, is of course certificate
Okay.
is an evidence, yeah, but don't be close to all the ways to grab the attention of the
Mhm.
recruiters. Be
Yeah.
honest, but be brave. Is if you feel that you have some skills in English, reflect them your way with your words. List the things that you think that you can do. List how fluent you think you are. Mention the experience that you have. Any
Mhm.
way that really makes you feel that you are reflecting your actual skills. And of
Mhm.
course, if you're even braver, send a video curriculum and you will, um, like I said before, you will have an extra advantage from the beginning. And
Mhm.
then, like Jorge said, at the moment of the interview, remember that it's not an English exam. What they want to say is how much you fit with the requirements of your position, and they want to
Mhm.
see a person with good communication skills.
Yeah.
So excellent.
And another I'm sorry to interrupt you, David, and just to make another point that you talked before, because I think it was very important. We are not saying that, as you said before, we are not saying that the certificates are not important. Of course they are, and of course if you have the possibility, or if you have the skills and the chance to pass one, well,
much better.
that's better. But it's not the only one. It's not the only component.
Exactly. Keep your mind open and train your English, because in the end you need training. So, well, here we have Lingua Gym. The name of our service is very representative. It's a gym because we train your languages, and the flexibility of our service actually lets our users to choose amongst all the sessions that we have open every week. So technically you can combine exam preparation with conversation, with professional workshops, all included in your rate. So I definitely feel that Lingua Gym is aligned with the reality of these selection processes. Thank you very much again, Jorge. It has been a pleasure.
Thank you, David, for having me too.
See you tomorrow in our Spanish class, because I have the privilege to be your teacher at the moment. And to all our users, remember that next week we have another webcast, very interesting as well, Jorge. I think that you would like it, on Chinese, the Chinese mentality for business. So all those who are interested in trade with China and you want to know more about the profile of consumers, the first steps to succeed with Chinese people in business strategy, all these things commented by a person with extensive experience dealing with them. And I think that more than now, a very interesting topic. And one more chance to practice English. So meet you next Thursday at 4 p.m. here on Language in TV. And congratulations, Jorge, for also living this experience and passing the challenge. And to the people that have been with us today.
Once again, thank you for the time changing as well. But
well, it was worth it. It was worth it. You made it worth it. Okay. Have a nice evening, everybody. See you soon.
Have a nice evening. Bye. Ciao.
Bye.